edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park, Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. We appreciate all of you. Facebook page, we're at 6673. We had a high of 6678, but we've been bouncing around, and I understand how that goes. We appreciate all the watches and the likes of our show, so thank you very much. Got a great show of sports. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Got Chip Hayner's back from his hiatus. Smoking Jim Frazier's here. And I want to start with some promos right off the bat. Thanks to Olive Oil's Pizzeria and their pizza. We appreciate that at 412-831-1900. Give them a call right at Hillcrest Shopping Center. They're working up a lot of pizzas there, so check it out. And the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix is coming up. pvgp.org, July 6th through the 15th at Shenley Park. 100,000 people will be there a day. All kind of cars, events. Check it out. Tents are there. A lot of entertainment. It'll be July 6th through the 15th. If you want to volunteer, go to pvgp.org. Say you want to be a volunteer. Then the Bethel Park Historical Society, they're a 501c3. Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, they rent out the building. They have different events there, and they do a lot of great, good things in the Bethel Park community. Check out Bethel Park Historical Society, Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Has that trolley right in front, South Park Road. Then we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. Here's a picture of Joey before DIPG and after DIPG, the brain cancer that killed him. The Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation is a 501c3. They donate all their money for brain cancer research to try to find a cure. Check it out. Next, if you need money for your group or organization in Bethel Park, the BPCF, Bethel Park Community Foundation, has money for you at bpcf.org from $100 to $5,000. Check it out. If you need money for your group to promote good things in Bethel Park, get an application. Dave Cable likes to have a little fun. Tell them Uncle Al sent you. There's a picture of Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I want you for BPTV, 412-831-3304. Give Dave Cable a call and tell him Uncle Al sent you. That's all he needs to know. And the beginning of our show is sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. They're right past Trax Farm in Mineral Beach on Route 88 in Finleyville. 724-348-4715. He works on anything and everything that runs on gas. He told me to tell people, come on out. They had their little buffet opened up, Bethel Park Donuts. I'm a mile away, but I travel 7 miles to go to Finleyville to eat a Bethel Bakery donuts. So we enjoy that, and he sponsors What's on Your Mind. And of course, I gotta say, Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. If you want the green,
I found it this week.
You got to see Levine. I tell you what, man,
What?
We're recently up in Green Tree, where you played baseball at. Those baseball fields made me want to get back out there and play baseball again.
I understand that. I was glad to see you inspired.
That I would have to say.
But,
No
hey,
question.
But hey, listen, I first like to publicly apologize. I don't apologize often because I'm not
This is a BPTV Sportsline first.
My brother, who's a millionaire in Dallas, went to the Earl Spence fight.
Okay.
And of course, his nephew staying with me and gave me a dime yet for his nephew staying with me going to college.
And,
but anywho.
and most people think Smoking Jim Frazier's a millionaire.
Yeah.
So why would his brother have to give you a dime?
That's it. So
Then what happened?
I believe that Earl Spence is an overrated fighter
Okay.
because he's 28 years old, fought in the Olympics, and he really hasn't had anybody on his resume, so that tells me he's ducking a lot of people, although he's undefeated. So he knocked this Mexican kid out in the first round with a body shot. And, of course, everybody's, let me know about it. Hey, this guy's the greatest thing since Sugar Ray Leonard and all this. So I go out and look at the Mexican kid's record out of Wikipedia.
Wikipedia,
Yeah. And it said that the kid died in the hospital at 22 years old after taking that body shot to the liver. So I put rest in peace on the sports group that we're at, and I put it on Facebook. Well, here it was wrong. I can't even trust Wikipedia. I go out and look at it an hour later, and they took it down. But luckily, I was able to scroll back and
you know what happens, Smoking Jim? Somebody like you that likes to entertain people, put that up.
How can they? I didn't think they'd do that.
They let you put it up there till they fact check it. Like
I
they
never
get
knew
17 sources, that I have to use to check on you.
I found out the hard way, man. People were like, really, hey, man, well, they're thinking I'm joking. I'm like, I don't joke about death, man. The guy's dead.
Yeah.
But anyhow, man.
Thanks for the
Maybe
apology.
that's why he took the fight.
Yeah. He's Lazarus. He's able to get up and walk out the hospital, man. But hey, what's
Thanks for getting religious on us.
Thank you, sir. Because I was all ready for 101.5 the word, but anyway.
And we were on Saturday.
A financial show. Yeah. The whole different station,
12:50 a.m.
My dad used to listen to that.
Really?
Yeah, it's too much.
He's a good man.
Too serious talk for me. But anyway, what's on my mind is your Pittsburgh Steelers. First of all, they backstabbed Martavis Bryant by getting rid of him. And they already have a curse on them from Santonio Holmes. They'll never win another Super Bowl after they got rid of Santonio Holmes. But I did some checking.
Breaking news. There's rumors that the NFL's investigating Martavis Bryant.
Well, he won't get suspended. He's not on drugs anymore. What happened was he missed his counseling session, which he has to go once a week. So he missed that out there.
How did he miss that?
So he's probably, hopefully, because of that, he won't get. He's being urine tested 3 times a week, and he has to go to his counselor once a week, and he missed that counselor. So, and I blame the Steelers on that too.
Sure.
Because
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, he never missed when he was here. But anywho, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Except the 10 games he was suspended.
In the 1 year.
Yeah.
Other than that. But anywho, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we've been saying for a long time that they have to get themselves together as right outside linebacker. And they keep screwing around, They draft Jarvis Too Slow Jones. We knew he couldn't do it. I thought they drafted Shazier the next year to play that. They didn't. They put him in the middle. Then they draft Dupree, who has 4.5 speed. I thought he was going to be right outside linebacker. They put him at left, the runaround blocks. And then they draft T.J. Watt, who did a good job at right outside linebacker, being white and all. Usually they don't put a white guy out there because of reverse discrimination. He was pretty much Rookie of the Year. Now they move him to the left side after a year training on the right side. Dupree's had 3 years of training on the left side, and they're moving him to the right side. So do they know what they're doing down there? If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to say this on every show that I'm on from now until the Pittsburgh Steelers are eliminated in the playoffs, the defensive coordinator should be my good friend, Tom Bradley. He should be the defensive coordinator. The guy's a genius. And that's what's on my mind.
Wow. I don't know what to say. You took my breath away with all those facts. Thanks, Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner, welcome back.
My man Chip is here.
And what's on your mind after that opening by Smoking Jim Frazier?
Well, what's on my mind is I would check Jim's facts before I take anything he says as being truthful.
Welcome to the club.
But, once again, because the Steelers have no idea what they're doing. They got rid of somebody who was potentially one missed test, one missed appointment, from a season-long suspension. And not only did they get rid of that nightmare that would have hampered their offense all year, they also were smart enough to potentially draft at the 76th pick in the draft the future quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers because, oh, by the way, Tom Brady's going to play until he's 45 years old, right? I'm going to play forever. So go ahead and get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't need to worry about replacing me. Oops. He talked to his wife. Now he's changed his tune, and now he's starting to think about retiring. Really? Yeah. Of course, he said that to Oprah. And, anybody will say anything to Oprah. I mean, like Tom Cruise jumped up on a couch and made a fool of himself. Okay. So I don't know how much that's true, but can you imagine what that's going to do to the New England Patriots if Tom Brady decides after this year, I don't want to put the effort in to continue doing this? See? And now that takes me back to the drama queen, number 7. Okay? The drama queen herself changes his mind about as frequently as a woman changes her clothes. So, now he wants to play 5 more years. Next week, well, I'm taking it year by year. I don't want to be a vegetable. I want to be around to see my kids grow up, this and that. So, yes, the Steelers were protecting their interests by, A, getting rid of a train wreck, and possibly getting the successor to Ben, should Ben decide after he gets his bell rung this year, or wait, should I say, before his wife decides for him after he gets his bell rung this year, that he's cashing it in. So, for as much as the Steelers don't know what they're doing, just one thing I want you to remember from last year, 13-3. Yes, we did get bounced in the playoffs early. They still managed to win 13 games last year. Somebody's doing something right. So there's that. Then, of course, I hear about an undeserving Hall of Fame candidate, Terrell Owens, who has decided to forego his induction ceremony. Now, it would be laughable if it wasn't for the fact that he cried a river of tears for 2 years, belly aching about how he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, and he was being disrespected by not getting elected to the Hall of Fame. So is this how you get back at the Hall of Fame? I don't know. Don't make any sense to me, but anything he ever did never made sense to me, especially squandering his fortune. So you got that. And then on to the last but not least, Alan has mentioned this before, and everybody knows about my love for the Pittsburgh Pirates, okay? But I don't have a completely blinders on, and I am aware of the warts and the pimples that they do have. And I root for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't really care who the ownership is. It makes no difference to me. But how much the owner spends seems to bother most of the people on talk radio, and they do everything they can to take every opportunity to chop the team down. And attendance is down for the Pirates significantly this year. That is a fact. I've been to the games. I've seen the empty seats, okay? Fortunately, a lot of them are around me, so I get to stretch out, and get a little more comfortable. And I don't have somebody with a big melon in front of me blocking the home plate. But anyhow, the Pirates are doing better than anybody could have anticipated. 36-36, 72 games into the season. They're playing 500 ball. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that were thinking that after the 72nd game, the Pirates would have been 2-70.
What's the record?
36-36.
That ain't bad.
Well, it's, while they're trying to figure out their pitching staff, most importantly, their relievers, the Pirates are doing okay. There have been some real disappointments this year. First and foremost being Gregory Polanco. I think he has underperformed. This was the year that I expected to see him, prove that he was star material. Maybe not so much. A lot less of a disappointment, Josh Bell. Now, Josh Bell is only in his second full season of Major League Baseball, and he's going through a sophomore slump. I do believe he's got potential to perform more consistently, But this is what happens when young guys come up from AAA. You know, they come in, pitchers don't know them, they get hot first, and then the game catches up to you. And it's a matter of making adjustments to be able to perform. And I think he'll work himself out. But good portion of the season left. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm going to continue to enjoy it. I'll be down at PNC Park Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, enjoying some great baseball. And if you're not going down to the ballpark and watching the team, you certainly are selling yourself short. But you know, I can't make decisions for anybody. But just a few thoughts of what's on my mind in the last couple of weeks, all kind of summed up into one.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Chipper,
Thank
can
you,
I
Chip.
ask one question?
No, you could ask
We go
two,
to
because I
Michelle.
figure you could get into it.
Who was the last Pirate to hit 30 home runs? I was wondering.
The same guy that got designated for assignment today. Do you know what that means? He got cut off their roster. Pedro Alvarez.
Okay, because he
Yeah, because
consistently-
he's now on. He is on no major league
But he
team.
consistently hit in the upper 20s and 30 home runs.
But he couldn't field. He couldn't field. There's no place for
I
him
was
to
just
play.
asking.
I just got
Right.
a question. Smoking Jim, what's your point?
Well,
No, I just
no, your
I
point.
couldn't think of his name.
Your point is
Folks,
that
he's an NFL scout. He suffers from CTE. He's been hitting the head too many times.
here's what the point is. The man he's talking about got designated for assignment today. That means he is a Major League Baseball player without a Major League team. He's on nobody's roster. He's not getting paid. What does that tell you about the caliber of player he is?
I just asked a question. I wasn't to knock against the Buccos. I was just wondering where the last 30 home run hitter was.
I mean, if you want to knock anybody, knock him. He couldn't even play for an American League team, where all he has to do is bat.
Smoking Jim Frazier, the disclaimer is he's an NFL scout, Steeler scout. He said allegedly he played Little League Baseball. I still
doubt
have
it.
not had anybody confirm that.
I haven't seen a
I gotta
picture
call
of
his
him.
daddy.
Pony League, too.
Yeah,
That I doubt, because
What?
it would have
Yeah,
interfered
my
with
pretty,
baseball.
my pretty pony, right?
It may have interfered with your your football career.
His
so
pony had unicorns. It had
it
rainbows
was
on it.
pink, yeah. I
His
understand.
pony was a unicorn.
Smoking Jim, it's always a pleasure when you interject about baseball. I actually have baseball on my mind for a couple reasons. I was glad the Buccos got back to 500. Trevor Williams come back. He needed to come back from sinking the last 5-6 games. He pitched a one-hitter, gave up no runs, 7 innings, 7 Ks. He did rather well, kept them off balance the whole game. Jordy Mercer drove in the winning run, the only one run we needed. And then I kept looking at the game because I watched the whole game, Smoking Jim, unlike you that watches maybe an inning or two or listen to the fan or listen to somebody complaining or because I don't care who owns the team. I just like baseball. So I'm looking around and they go, boy, isn't this sad? The announcers go, there's only 10,000 people here, 10,600. And I go, it doesn't even look like that. I said to my son, it looks a little less than that.
They got
But I
my
go-
tickets sold.
Yeah, but I go, people are getting upset like they've been all year. I said, I'm glad that they started out on a hot streak. We're leading the league in home runs, and now they come back. And I said, like the last week or so, I was disappointed they had lost like 15 or 16 out of 22. I said, but they'll come back. So now they're back to 500. How can you beat that? 90 games to go, Smoking Jim Frazier. 9-0. So we'll see what happens the rest of the year. Maybe they can split those games there. 45 and 45. Let's see what happens. Then you'll lose money. I'll be wrong.
Do you know what's
And that's what happens.
You know what I find amusing? People are already mad at the Pirates about trades that they haven't made yet, which aren't going to get made until the end of July.
Sure.
Okay, so they're already getting and somebody else made a trade yesterday, and somehow
Yeah, a relief pitcher, and they were bringing it up. It would only cost you $4 million out of his $8 million contract, so that's a good price.
right. But here's my point: does anybody know, was this man offered to the Pirates? Were they in negotiations for this?
Nobody mentioned
because
it. That's a technicality.
Because usually when two teams are negotiating a deal, nobody else is privy to the information. That's the reason why they make them in secret. So, I'm not worried about what other teams do. I'm worried about the product on the field.
Well, the people
and I
are
like what I
mad.
see.
People weren't mad about that. They're mad because the owner came out and said that if the people start coming, I'll spend more
No.
money.
No,
That's
the
a
general
lie.
manager.
No,
He
that's
needs
a
to
lie.
keep his mouth shut.
That's a lie because it was the general manager, not
Yeah.
the owner.
And he's speaking for the owner.
No, he's not. He's speaking for himself.
And folks,
If you're going to quote something,
Keep your mouth shut over there.
he don't even know who the general manager is.
if you're going to make quotes,
Who's the general
Is the
manager?
general manager white?
Yes.
The owner, I can't tell them apart. You
Yes,
guys all
they-
look alike.
Yes, they are.
How I know the difference?
Smoking Jim Frazier. Some more stories for Pittsburgh Sportsline.
see what you guys missed last week. It took us
Oh.
all of 20 minutes to get the train completely off the tracks.
Now that we're off with that, we'll be back with Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
On Sunday, July 1st, the Oliver Miller Homestead will honor and remember both those patriots who have come before and those who are currently serving us by celebrating patriots then and now. We will remember the beginnings of our great nation in several ways. Our special guest on this very special day will be George Washington, Commanding General of the Continental Army. General Washington will visit with our guests through the afternoon and be available for pictures and questions about his views of this newly written declaration and his expectations for the success of the Revolution. Those patriots who began and supported the Revolution used a liberty pole, a tall pole topped with a red cap, to signal a meeting of the patriots to plan their activities. We will have a liberty pole that we will use to remember and honor veterans who have served and those who are currently serving in the military. Ribbons will be available for guests to write the names of loved ones in the military past and present and to tie them on the liberty pole. Current military men and women are invited to be our guests and at 2:30 to raise the liberty pole for us as a sign of our patriotism. The Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th of 1776, and the first printed copies made their way west. At 3 o'clock, Washington will begin the reading of the Declaration, and members of our group will continue with that reading. This is an inspiring event that you will not want to miss. Admission to the homestead is only $2, and we are open from 1:30 to 4:30, with the last admission at 4. For more information, visit our website at www.olivermillerhomestead.org.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Thanks, Chip. Thanks, Rookie of the Year. Thanks, Devin Shea. But I tell you what, I hope everybody in the world is listening because I'm going to drop some knowledge on people that nobody heard before. And these are all facts. First of all, let me give my top 5 heavyweights of all time. Number 5, Anthony Joshua. Number 4, George Foreman. Number 3, Sonny Liston. Number 2, Muhammad Ali. Number 1, Marciano. Listen, fella, for all those that never heard of Charles Sonny Liston, here's a fact. He was born in 1917. So when he fought Muhammad Ali in 1964, he was 47 years old. In 65, he was 48. So he was an old man.
What was he in 49?
At that time, huh?
How old was he in 49?
And I don't know, but in 64, he was born in 1917. Nobody knows that. This was one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He was 7-1 favorite when he fought Muhammad Ali. And what happened on the rematch?
You mean Cassius Clay?
He was Cassius Clay at the time. And the day after the fight, he was Cassius X. Cash's ex. And then they gave him, after they killed Malcolm X, they gave him Muhammad Ali. But what happened, and nobody knows this is breaking news. I've been sitting on this for 3 years. I'm going to let you guys know what happened. He took a dive in the Lewiston, Maine fight. Sonny Liston could really take a punch. But what happened was the fight, Sonny Liston got in the best shape of his life to beat Muhammad Ali at 48 years old. Muhammad Ali ended up getting a hernia. So they postponed the fight for 4 months. Sonny really couldn't, at that age, couldn't get back in shape. Of course, everybody thought he was 30, but he was really 48. But the Nation of Islam, and I'm not saying Louis Farrakhan had anything to do with this, but he knew about it. The Nation of Islam kidnapped his wife and one of his illegitimate sons and says, if you ever want to see him live again, take a dive in the fight. Now, Muhammad Ali didn't know anything about this. So he took a dive and everybody got wet at ringside. And here's the reason why he got murdered. In 1969, there was a vacant belt available that Muhammad Ali had to give up because he was fighting the government. At the time, Sonny Liston won a lot of fights in a row. But Jerry Corey, who was a great, great fighter, was the white hope. And they needed another white hope. Dwayne Bobbitt was still an amateur. So Chuck Wepner, the former Marine, who was a war hero, saved a lot of people in the war, tough guy, won a lot of boxing championships in the military. He was an up-and-coming pro. He beat Ernie Terrell. So the mob went to Sonny Liston and says, take a dive on this fight. Not only did Sonny Liston not take a dive, he put 72 stitches in Chuck Wepner's face, who was one of the toughest guys out there. They had to stop the fight. 6 months later, they murdered Sonny Liston. So that's Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. You guys may not want to walk next to me when we walk to the car, but I had to tell the true story. If Sonny Liston would have been able to fight in his prime, Sonny Liston may be the greatest heavyweight of all time. But even at an advanced age of over 50 years old, when he was still fighting, he was still, in my opinion, the third greatest heavyweight ever.
Thank you, Smoking Jim.
You're welcome.
I'm going to check those facts.
1917 he was born.
Excellent. How was that hidden until 3 years ago?
That's the same year I found President Obama's birth certificate. Found them both together.
Well, he was born in Kenya. So he shouldn't have even been president. Come on, man. You can't tell all the truth on Pittsburgh Sports Line.
Both those birth certificates together.
I just have one question for you, Smoking Jim. Hold steady, Chip. Where is your birth certificate, Smoking Jim Frazier?
There ain't no birth certificate with that name on it, but I do got a government name. But I'm on the run.
Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. We're going to move forward.
Before I get started with this week's trivia, I'd like to address Jim's top 5 heavyweight champions. And I will give you my list, and this is in order. Number 1 would be Rocky Marciano, the only undefeated heavyweight champ. Number 2 would be the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis. Number 3, Muhammad Ali. Number 4 would be Jack Johnson. And number 5 would be Muhammad Ali's sparring partner, Larry Holmes.
Wow.
And he defended the title, I believe, 16 times.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. He was, he came close to Marciano's record. Unfortunately, Michael Spinks put a stop to that. But
would Sonny Liston be in your top 10?
I could say that he could be in the top 10, yes.
How about Anthony Joshua?
I don't even know who he is.
Okay.
I don't even know who he is. But I just look at the heavyweight champion. George Foreman, doesn't really make it to me. I mean, he was a punching machine in the early 70s until Ali did the rope-a-dope trick on him, wore him out, and he got a lucky punch in on Michael Moore when he was 48. And I guess like Sonny Liston, training with the George Foreman grill worked a little better than than anything else. But so to get to my trivia, last time I had a trivia segment, I was been talking about some of I talked about the 3,000 hit club, I talked about the 300 win club for pitchers, and then I talked about the one unbreakable streak. Well, I guess there are two of them in baseball. Cal Ripken's Iron Man streak. I don't think we'll ever see another man play over 2,000 games. But Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. And today marks the day when he hit number 32 games in his streak. So that got me thinking about it. And I was like, there's some more interesting things about his hitting streak that I'd like to bring to light to people. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak, longest in baseball history, began on May 15th, 1941. And it ended on July 17th. And here are 20 fun facts about the streak. Alan Courtney and Ben Horner wrote the song Joltin' Joe that became a big hit for the Les Brown in his Band of Renown, if you ever heard that. DiMaggio confided to a teammate that failing to extend the streak for one more game cost him the $10,000 promised to him by the Heinz Corporation to endorse their Heinz 57 products.
That's a lot of money back
That in 1941, $10,000 was probably equivalent to more than $1 million, I would say now. DiMaggio hit 408 during the streak, 91 for 223, 15 home runs, 55 RBIs. DiMaggio was voted the American League MVP that season over Boston's Ted Williams, who hit 406, the last major leaguer to hit over 400 for a season. The longest hitting streak since DiMaggio established the records was 44 games by that bum Pete Rose. The streak was interrupted by the 1941 All-Star Game at Briggs Stadium in Detroit. DiMaggio was 1 for 4 against the National League. So if you were to count that game,
57.
he did get to 57.
Yeah.
Hey, Heinz, write him a check. All right. He homered for his only hit versus Boston on July the 2nd. DiMaggio never bunted for a hit during the streak.
Really?
The St. Louis Browns gave up the most hits, 22 of them in 12 games. Indians reliever Joe Krasakis, a native of Quebec, was the last pitcher to yield a hit to DiMaggio during the streak. DiMaggio had a 61-game hit streak with the San Francisco Seals of the Pacific Coast League in 1933. Second longest in minor league history to Joe Wilhite, 69 games in 1919.
Old Joe did that?
So old Joe was had a habit of running up some streaks. The streak almost ended at 35. On June 24th against St. Louis, DiMaggio was hitless when he batted in the 7th inning. Browns manager Luke Sewell ordered Bob Moncrief to walk him. Moncrief refused. Sewell relented. DiMaggio singled. During the streak, he faced 4 Hall of Fame pitchers, Lefty Grove, Hal Neuheiser twice, Bob Feller, and Ted Lyons. Who gets credit for the nickname the Yankee Clipper? According to DiMaggio's official website, Yankee Stadium announcer Arch McDonald came up with the moniker for the gracefulness of his play in the field.
Great athlete.
When the streak began on May 15th, the Yanks were 14-14, 5.5 games behind Cleveland in 4th place. After game number 56 of the streak, the Yankees were 55-27 and first place with a 6-game lead over Cleveland. Do you see why he was MVP?
No.
You probably voted for Pete Rose.
I'd have voted for Ted Williams for sure.
After extending the streak to 56 on July 16th, DiMaggio led the American League in runs, hits, RBIs, and tied for the lead in home runs, and was second to Ted Williams in batting, 395 to 375. The St. Louis Browns teammates Bob Harris and Eldon Ocker each gave up 5 hits during the streak. Although he failed to get a hit in Game 57, DiMaggio did walk to reach base in a streak that would extend to 74 games, second all-time to Ted Williams' mark of 84 games in 1949. DiMaggio got hits in both games of a twin bill on May 30th versus Boston, games 15 and 16, but he also committed 4 errors.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's Pedro Alvarez. But he didn't get designated for assignment. He retired into the Hall of Fame. DiMaggio got 2 hits off Cleveland's Bob Feller on June 2nd. The next day, the New York Times reported, DiMaggio, incidentally, has hit safely in 19 straight games, believed to be the first printed reference to the streak.
Wow.
So, you know, I've said this once and I've said it again. I do believe that one of the greatest seasons in Major League Baseball history was the summer of 1941, and I'm still convinced.
Well, in the movie Goodfellas, they said that Joe DiMaggio was the, greatest, just most talented baseball player ever.
He
he
was what you would call a 5-tool player. He had it all. He had speed. He hit for power. He hit for average. He had, played defense.
On that Mr. Coffee commercial, was that him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I knew him by. I didn't know he played no ball.
And who did he marry?
Is he Marilyn Monroe?
Yes, he married Marilyn Monroe.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. You do know more baseball than I thought.
I play Pony League.
I don't believe it.
Yeah,
Thanks, Chip. I
pretty
appreciate
pony.
it. I got to agree with you, Chip, on that streak. Nobody's going to break it.
Never going to happen.
It will.
On location, July 9th is the Pittsburgh Sportsline Hall of Fame.
Woo!
Induction ceremonies at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 930 Brookline Boulevard. I got 2 strange phone calls in the last week. I'll share them with you. One is a good friend of mine, Coach Rock Robinson. He was near tears of joy. He left a message on my phone. I returned the message. He didn't answer. Left a message for him. Wanted to know what to wear, what this was about, what's going on. I told him, I have nothing to do with it. I have no votes. I don't know the criteria. It's all Smoking Jim. But it is Pittsburgh Sportsline, so I respect the whole process. So I talked to Coach Rock today.
I got to call him back.
Well, you got to call lots of people back. But he was very, here's what he said. He was so overjoyed and blessed and happy that he cried. His wife gave him a hug that almost broke his back. He has some health issues, but he's overcoming them. And he wanted to know what to wear. I said, dress casual, or you could dress up as much as you want. For Smoking Jim, get there around 7-ish. We start filming at 7:30 to 8:30. So he's happy there, and he sends his love to us on Pittsburgh Sportsline. And he's just so proud to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. I go, really? When did that happen?
1 of 7.
And then I get a text message. No, I get a phone message. I forget what night it was, but this artist friend of mine, Vince Ornato,
I'm doing my job.
calls me up and leaves a message. He goes, hey, Al, I need you to explain what this Pittsburgh Sportsline Hall of Fame even is. Smoking Jim said I was number 21. I'm assuming there were 19 other women that are Hall of Famers. That's the message he left me. He goes, I need to have some more details and tell me what it's about, what I need to wear. So I called him up, didn't get a hold of him, left a message, then we talked for a short period of time in between his doing another gig. And I said, no, there's more than, two guys in the Hall of Fame. I said, I don't know the criteria, but welcome aboard. He goes, thank you. I guess I should be honored. He said, I am. So when should I get there? Told him the same thing, around 7. Start filming 7:30 to 8:30. Said dress casual. So I know 2 of the 7 Hall of Famers. Can't wait to hear who they are. If you want to find out, July 9th.
Have you made the Hall of Fame?
Yes. Yeah, I made it.
I know I made it.
Yeah. He snuck me in the first
All I want to know
inducting
is,
class.
when Kevin Green and Jerome Bettis, they went in the Hall of Fame, and the guys from the Hall of Fame flew into town and presented them with rings. Now, I got a pocket full of quarters, and I know Jim could go to the bubblegum machine and probably 25 plastic rings. I'd spend more than $2 or $3.
We're not big enough yet. Someday we're going to be bigger than the Dapper Dan.
I'd have got you a bus, but you see enough bus in your years, bro.
And if he gives you a diamond, make sure it's not a zircon.
All right, we'll be back with some pirate talk on the next segment. See you then.
One of the things we do at BPTV is encourage our producers to film on location. Not only does shooting on location give our producers the opportunity to take advantage of their subject matter, filming in different locations gives each program its own distinct flavor. This also helps anyone who's flipping through the channels avoid confusion when they turn on BPTV. With around 500 programs produced at BPTV each year, the last thing we want people to think is that we're only broadcasting one program. So, you need to come into BPTV to pitch your TV show, but in terms of where you actually end up taping your show, the sky's the limit.
I've shown an interest in making home movies. Me and some buddies would just grab a camera and you just start making these videos, and then you realize at some point that this isn't just a hobby anymore, it's something that you actually want to pursue, and there's this great facility right down the road, BPTV. A lot of people will try to do these productions on their own, and one of the things they don't have is the equipment, but right here is everything that you need in one nice little bundle. There's lights, cameras, reflectors, dollies, all kinds of little knickknacks. Like anything that you'd want to use that you would need for a production, you have it right here. Like it's all right here. You can make your own feature movie just with the stuff from this studio. Come meet Dave Cable, let him show you around, and I think you'll realize that this is something that you could fall into regardless of your level of expertise, whether you're a beginner or even if you're a more advanced learner. There's something here for everyone, and I feel that you just need to come through and just be a part of the experience and just watch and learn, and let Dave be your guide.
Thanks for staying tuned to Comcast 7 and Verizon 32. We appreciate you, fans. We got a little Bucko talk for all the disgruntled fans and the hateful fans. Buccos are 36-36 like we talked about. They have a lot of potential there. Some of it's coming out. Some of it's gone away. Some of it will come back again. It's 162 games, told Smoking Jim we got 90 to go.
I'm disgruntled.
Okay. At least you got a tag now you can wear. But you'll be at the Pirate game on Friday. So
Allegedly, believe me, I'll be there. And if Jim is anywhere in the building, I'll make sure that he stays for the fireworks.
Guess what? That won't be happening there because
Oh, yeah.
he usually gets out early.
Here's what I'm going to do. I have a hot dog on a fishing line, and I'm going to dangle it just out of his reach. Make him.
I got to leave at 8:30. I got a meeting at 9.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense, definitely. And you want me to come to the game? I'll be sitting by myself. How many tickets do you have?
300.
300.
I'll be
You
up.
just can't tell the truth.
I'll be up in 314. Come on up. There's plenty of good people up there.
Who knows where these seats are even at? I can't wait to find out.
So after a little spell where the Pirates took it on the chin, lost approximately 16 out of 22 games, they've won 4 of their last 5. They shut down the Milwaukee Brewers, who have the most home runs in the National League this year, and they put up a goose egg on them. So
Great game. Great game to watch.
It was a great game to watch. I was at another great game this weekend, Saturday night. Game was over in relatively 2.5 hours. I love baseball games that are 2.5 hours long. Ever since Dusty Baker moved out of, every time Dusty Baker coached a team against the Pirates, 4.5 hours. I don't know what you guys got nothing better to do with his life. But
that's that toothpick he would chew on.
But we were talking earlier, and yes, the Pirates do have a little bit of a dilemma because they've got 3 outfield positions, and they've got 4 outfielders. And I honestly believe Austin Meadows should be playing every night. He's not in the lineup tonight, but he fouled a ball off of his foot the other day, and he's got a little bit of a sore foot, even though he is available to pinch hit. But here's a young man who, last year he spent the whole entire year injured, hamstring injuries, and I was wondering, is this kid ever going to pan out to be a prospect? And he was performing well in AAA this year, but not spectacularly. They brought him up into the major leagues, and the young man looks like he belongs here.
He does look relaxed.
He does. He did. The game is not too big for him here on the big stage, and I love to see that the Pirates are keeping him up and they're playing him. I don't know if a 4-man outfield rotation is the smart way to go. You've got Corey Dickinson, who's still batting over 300, doing well. Starling Marte is giving you about what you'd expect out of Starling Marte. 285, 290 batting average, solid defense in the outfield. But the thing that amazed me the most about Austin Meadows was Saturday night we were there, and he was playing right field. And so they had a runner on second and a deep fly ball to right field. And Meadows got it, and he threw a pill. And I mean, it did not bounce once. And the guy at second base was getting ready to tag. And he took 2 steps, and he watched that ball go over his head like that. Boom, right into the third baseman's glove, standing at the base. The guy stopped dead in his tracks. He would have been deader than a doornail. And he did that a couple of times. And what he did by doing that is he kept people from taking an extra base.
Sure. That means a lot.
Which is what you need your outfielders to do. And that's why it is always so important to make your throws accurate. If you're throwing to hit the cutoff man, you need to hit the cutoff man and not overthrow him. And if you're throwing for the base, you can't throw it 15 feet over the
head of the place. Yeah.
You can't let the runner get 2 extra bases when you're trying to stop him from getting 1. And this is awareness that, guys that have been in the league a lot of years seem to lose track of. And
playing the game the right way, like they say in hockey, play it the right way. You got to play it like Smoking Jim can tell us about cutoff plays and off-the-air stuff because he played Pony League ball.
But
maybe he can explain.
But he's performing real well. And you've got Francisco Cervelli, who's having his best year at bat.
He is
in his career. And as a matter of fact, there's only one catcher in the National League that has produced better than Francisco Cervelli, and that's Buster Posey.
Wow.
And Buster Posey's catcher for the San Francisco Giants. So, the Pirates are a pretty solid baseball team. They've got a young pitching staff. They're getting some people to work some things out. They're making various moves, and it's the Vasquez went through a rough patch
Yes, he
as
did.
their closer. He seems to be getting it back. Now, it's the guys that are doing the 7th and 8th innings is where we need to
Crick-
solidify that.
Crick looked good last night. He's been shaky.
Yeah, he's been.
Oh, there's another guy,
and
so-
Rodriguez is another guy that they
Yeah.
just signed up. They let Neverauskas go back down to
They had
the
to.
minors. Well, you know, he needs to work some things out. And interesting tonight, Jameson Taillon started out the year as the potential quote-unquote ace of the staff. And he started out well, and then he went through a rough patch, but on his own, without the prompting of the coaches or anybody else, he started working with a slider. And this slider has proven very good from his last outing. He was pretty much lights out. He's pitching tonight against the Brewers. And we'll see whether or not it continues. But, you know, hey, if the Pirates are going to make any hay this year, you know, they got to beat the teams that are ahead of them. Team that's in first place in our divisions, the Brewers. And, you know, we're only 3 games out of the wild card race right now. We're 5.5 games out of the first place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, crazier things have happened in this game of baseball. You know, I'm going to let the games play out, and you know, and I'm going to enjoy the ride while it
Go back
lasts.
to spring training, like you said. People didn't expect more than a couple wins.
No.
Even Smoking Jim was waving the black flag.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get rid of Cole, Koch? They did.
Well, they did, and you know what? To be honest with you, I think they're a better team right now than they were last year at this time with them. So, you know, you can say what you want, but you know, sometimes you have to take a couple of steps back before you can take some steps forward. They didn't take too many backward steps, though. That's what the thing is.
Well, attendance-wise, and that's very important.
Well, and you know, in attendance across the major leagues, this is an issue across the major leagues. The Pirates' attendance is an issue. But here's what will cure that: keep winning baseball games. The fans will be back. It's just that simple.
Pittsburgh fans are front runners. Look at Smoking Jim. When they win a game with the Steelers, they're going to the Super Bowl. They lose, they got to fire their head coach. What the heck?
Well, no,
These things happen. Front runners are like that. We got restaurants. People go to the new restaurant. They want to be with the best in the first.
Mark my words. As long as they keep winning, you know, people will be back. Actually, the attendance for the 3 games against Cincinnati this weekend, they averaged 24,000 per game for the 3 games. Now, last night they only had 10,600. Allen said
That's
it didn't
worse
look
ever,
like
yeah.
there was that many people there. But
Yes,
when
it was.
when the Pirates are counting attendance at a game, they're talking about tickets bought.
Sure.
Okay, they're not talking about fannies through the turnstiles. So, you know, we'll see. You know,
Time will tell. That's all.
I'm looking forward to a nice 4-game series against Arizona. I'll be there for 3 of the 4, and I'm looking forward to a great weekend of baseball.
Is that who I'm going to see, Arizona?
If
So
he's
whatever-
going to be there.
Wherever they have on Friday night, they had another 300. That'll be my people.
Maybe it's a $1 hot dog night, too. You can eat plenty of hot dogs.
But I'm proud of the Pirates, so I'm proud of them.
When? What happened to you? How did this
So
even happen?
here we go. Let's talk local sports. What about?
Before you talk local sports, I wanted to get your opinion on something.
Go ahead.
I know you're a big enough man to give the grade 8 Ovi Alex Ovechkin credit. We haven't seen you in the last couple of weeks. Can you at least
You know
give
what?
him on air credit?
You know what? If there's anything that I want to compliment the Capitals on, is proving the point to me beyond any doubt that the chance of them repeating as champions next year has
I got 'em
completely
going
gone
back to
out the
back.
window since they fired their coach yesterday after winning the Stanley
Oh, I
Cup.
didn't know that.
Now that is what I call a class organization.
Yes.
They signed an agreement with the coach that if he won the Stanley Cup, that they would renegotiate his contract
For
and
1.8
extend it.
million.
Yeah, and
for 2 years.
and well,
They reneged.
he changed his mind, and they told him, look, you signed a deal. That's what you're getting. And he said, I want more money. And they said, you're fired.
Well, that's good. That's Washington.
But yes, Ovechkin, tip my hat to him. He can now be considered a champion. That's something that he was never able to be referred to as. So Alex Ovechkin,
Well,
congratulations.
did the coach at least get one day with the cup before he got fired?
Oh, he will. He will. Everybody does. So speaking of Stanley Cups and hockey and everything, so this week is the entry draft for the NHL. And rumors are flying about the Penguins trading Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
So,
He's good.
you know, there's a lot of people that think that Phil Kessel may not be traded by this weekend, but certainly before the season. Phil Kessel, his comments are he's perfectly happy to stay with Pittsburgh, and he would be okay if he got traded. Where he would prefer to be traded to would be the Phoenix Coyotes, because Rick Tocchet is there, and he developed a friendship with Rick Tocchet when he was an assistant coach with the Penguins. So if he never wants to win again, or have his name etched on the cup, go to Phoenix. You'll be there with your buddy Rick, and you won't win anything. Or, of course, you could stay with the Pittsburgh Penguins and potentially have your name on a couple of more cups.
Well, Smoking Jim discovered the curse.
The curse. Marc-Andre Fleury put the curse
There's a
on.
Marc-Andre Fleury curse.
Oh, was that the same
Penguins-
curse that he lost to the Alex Ovechkin in the Capitals? Was
Yes.
that the same curse? Okay, because I thought I
No,
didn't-
he's discovering curses all over the place, and he lost the curse of Art Rooney the first 40 years of owning the Steelers because it wasn't true.
So has anybody paid any attention to football in shorts? We had the Steelers mini camp. And,
No, I didn't, because
And-
I saw the stars were all missing in action.
Well,
They went on vacation. Big Ben went away with his
Because-
family. AB went away because Big Ben was gone.
because we know that there's no I in team, and they're not there to bond with their new teammates, and their new coaches. Because not only do they have new teammates, they also have a new offensive system. But I guess maybe Ben doesn't need to study it, because I guess he's going to tell Coach Randy
Yes,
what
he-
plays he wants to run.
He
right?
already did. He gave him his
Uh-huh.
list. Then he went on vacation.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
How
that.
about Todd Haley? Did you hear what Todd Haley had to say? Todd Haley said in Cleveland, the train wreck of all train wrecks, they haven't had a quarterback since Moses built the ark. Okay, but
That was Noah. Noah.
whomever, whomever.
I'm biblical.
Okay, I'm not. Yeah, but he said that that this quarterback room that he's got in Cleveland is the best one that he's ever worked with. Well, here's a guy whose previous quarterback rooms were headed by a Hall of Famer, Kurt Warner, a potential Hall of Famer, Ben Roethlisberger, and now he's got Tyrod Taylor. And Tyrod Taylor, yeah, he's a student of the game.
It goes to show if you can rehire a coach that's 1 in 31, your offensive coordinator will say whatever they tell him to say. And it makes sense there. And I feel sorry for Cleveland again. They just have a history of this.
They say if it's brown, flush it down. But that's what my thoughts are about the Cleveland Browns. So
Yeah,
I
well,
just
they're
had to get that out
consistent.
there.
They're consistent, Chip.
Yeah, well,
Congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. I didn't hear you
well,
say that.
well, there you
He
go.
didn't get a chance.
See how
Yeah,
they-
you know,
see how they kept the team together?
well,
Tell the Penguins
no,
to do
see,
that.
because what they did when they went and built a super team, they actually won championships. You know, unlike the Miami Heat, how many they lose?
Well,
As many as Cleveland's lost.
you two can argue off camera a little bit. Thanks, Smoking Jim Frazier and Chip Hayner. We're out of time. No, we still got. I guess we still got some time. It's a live TV show, and we had a little interruption. This is Al Levine signing off. Stay Joey strong.